Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Community Journal. Thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate you tuning us in. We have an interesting show for you today.
Yes, we do.
Here we are, the 1st of February. I can't believe it.
Can't believe it either.
You know, the winter is marching right along here. And
So far, we've been pretty lucky.
we have been pretty lucky. Again, we dodged more snow. We got a little bit, but certainly not a lot. I measured 4 inches in this last little storm, but other places got 8 inches, and so we were pretty lucky. So I guess we can't complain. Today is a beautiful day. It's nice and warm out there, and you can feel spring starting to creep in a little bit. So you know,
it's more in your imagination.
yeah, we're
very hopeful.
Yeah, we still have February to go through, unfortunately.
Yes.
But you know, hey, listen, we're Cape Codders. We can do it.
Yes, remember what happened in February of 1978?
Yes, we're going to talk about that in a few
I
minutes.
know.
But, you know, the first thing we're going to talk about today is a little sad note. James Marceline, and those of you that live in town, I'm sure you know that name. He was a large figure here about town. James Marceline was just a very active person here in the town of Harwich. You always saw him at town meeting taking an active role and an active interest in what goes on here in the town. He was the guy who donated all of the land for Cape Cod Tech. He just donated the land to the town. Amazing. And he did so many things to the town. He did pass away. He was 93 years old. So he had a great run. He did so much during his life for the town of Harwich. And for those of you that are interested, you know, his visitation will be tomorrow, February 2nd, at the Doan, Beal, and Ames Funeral Home at 260 Main Street in West Harwich from 4 to 9 p.m. They're having a funeral mass for him at Holy Trinity Church on Saturday, February 3rd at 10 a.m. And his burial will be at the Island Pond Cemetery also on Saturday. So Jim, a great guy, rest in peace. So he did wonderful things for our town.
Yes, he was a wonderful guy.
Great guy. So our first spot today is a rather interesting one because, you know, we do feature the Harwich Conservation Trust quite often. And Ron and Michael sat down with Dawn, and I can't read the last name. Dawn Wilder. Okay, very good. Wilding. Okay, Dawn Wilding. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Eileen. And the reason I didn't know that name, because I hadn't seen it before, but he is a special guest because he's going to talk about a special event that happened in 1978 on February 7th. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is the actual map of the blizzard of '78. This was an incredible storm that took place that really affected all of the East Coast, especially up here. We can specifically remember this storm. It was just tremendous. At the time, we were living in Braintree. I had 2 50-foot radio towers. We lived across the street from a hospital, and the only way they could get medicine into the hospital was by helicopter. The helicopter almost took our towers down. They didn't know they were there because we didn't have to have lights on them, but it was just an incredible storm. And he is going to talk about that storm. So let's take a look at what's going to happen with Ron and Dawn and Michael. Let's take a look.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Community Journal. We're here this morning with Michael Locke, the Executive Director of the Harwich Conservation Trust, and he has a guest with him this morning, Dawn Wilding, and Michael will explain what Dawn is going to be doing. You have a great round of talks coming up.
That's right, Ron. Yeah, thanks so much for having us again.
Oh, always happy to see you.
I'm glad to have Dawn here as well. And I just, again, I want to thank your fellow volunteers here and the staff of Channel 18. They do so much for the local community, and right here in this amazing resource, the community center. It's really terrific that we have these resources here. So, like you said, we have this amazing Winter Talk series. Sponsored by Harwich Conservation Trust. Has been very well received, some very interesting topics, and some intriguing opportunities to learn more about not only the natural world around us, but some of the history related to natural phenomena, including weather. And that's why we have Don here. Don came and spoke here as part of one of our more recent past Winter Talk series about Henry Beston, Outermost House. Really attracted quite a crowd. It was fascinating, heard wonderful feedback from folks. They learned a lot, and it was inspirational. So we brought him back, and we're psyched to have you here, Don, to talk about the 40th anniversary and the history related to the blizzard of '78, as well as other storms.
Yeah, that was, and I do focus mostly on the blizzard, but yeah, we do mention those other storms. But when you look back, there was never a storm really that made such an overall impact on Outer Cape Cod as the blizzard of '78 did, because of how it changed the landscape and the overall impact it had. I mean, that's the reason you go to Coast Guard Beach now, and you have to take that shuttle bus down to the beach. Well, this storm is why.
Right.
And it just did so much. It kind of set the bar really high for all future storms.
And you have some interesting images you're going to
yeah,
share,
well,
right?
I see we have one up now.
Yeah.
That's the satellite photo.
Wow.
And you can see in that little sliver there's actually an eye, and then there's a little sliver of clearing that went over Cape Cod. So a lot of those bands of snow are going in over the South Shore, and that's why we had those huge snow totals. But out here on the Cape, it really wasn't a snow event. It was more of a tidal event. And that's why it got, things changed so much, and the tides here were just so, and here you can see what it did to the Coast Guard Beach bathhouse.
That's the Coast Guard Beach, Coast Guard Beach in Eastham.
In
The
Eastham.
bathhouse,
That's
right
the
there.
old bathhouse that used to be there. And that had dunes and a parking lot around it, and that was just gone after this storm. There wasn't a heck of a lot left after the beach got leveled off.
Is that building gone, Don?
That building was pretty much flattened by the storm, and they had to burn down what was left of it because it was no longer. They were not able to. The structure of it wasn't stable. So, and here you see what Coast Guard Beach looked like before the storm.
Is that the size of the original parking lot?
Yes, it was. It was gigantic. It was. You see the Coast Guard station in the back.
Yes,
there,
yes.
And then you've got this huge parking lot, and the bathhouse is right up in front there. And there was also this little amphitheater area as well. So this was a gigantic parking lot, and people could just drive right up there and go down to the beach. And now all of that has been pushed back. And that area in front of the Coast Guard Beach now, the Coast Guard station.
Yes.
You can basically push that entire beach back to right in front of the Coast Guard station.
Right, to how people access it now.
And that's how it is now. Wow. So there is really no parking up there at that Coast Guard station except in the back.
I never realized it was that big.
It was a gigantic beach area. Now it's a very flat spit barrier beach. Back in those days, it was much wider. Prior to the storm, it was wider, and the dunes were much higher. And in Henry Beston's day, back in the 1920s, the dunes were just incredibly high. The beach probably reached down about 3 or 4 miles to the south before you hit the inlet opening. And that's Henry Beston's outermost house.
Is it really when that was washed away?
That was floating around in Nauset Marsh after the storm. The storm swept away probably, 7 or 8 houses that were out on these were old beach camps like you see in Chatham. Now they're falling into the sea, and in some other areas of the Cape. But this was, the outermost house was the one everybody was most interested in because of its literary significance. But there were several other cottages and shacks that were also swept away in that storm.
Just a incredible weather event. I mean, the satellite photo almost looked like it had characteristics of what we typically associate with like a hurricane image almost,
Exactly.
right? I mean,
exactly.
it almost looks
It
like
actually did develop an eye.
No kidding.
When it came up here. It moved up the coast. It had some tropical origins. it was two storms that combined and moved up the coast from the Carolinas, and it got off to the coast of New England, and then it stalled because it was being blocked by a very large high pressure area to the north, a very cold high pressure area. And it just wasn't able to go anywhere. So it sat there off the coast of Massachusetts, spinning around, and the eye actually moved over the outer Cape. And so with that eye sitting there, it actually cleared up the next day. The snow had turned to rain here pretty quickly, but the wind was just incredibly high. There was probably gusts of over 90 miles an hour.
Wow, that's a hurricane.
And they also had to deal with an extremely high tide from the new moon. So that was something that Wallace Bailey of Mass Audubon had actually circled those two dates on the calendar, knowing that it was going to be a problem just from the regular tides. And then you had the storm surge on top of that.
Wow.
So when you got to the storm and everything that happened, the level of the ocean was just incredibly high at that point. So it really, it was a recipe for disaster. And then you had all these other incidents all over the Cape where on the bay side, there were some areas lost 20 feet of sand of frontage just from that
storm.
from the water level. And they had it was a really interesting situation when you got to, you were trying to get out of Eastham the day after. They had a high tide that the water came in from both sides, from the cove and also from the wetlands behind the Smith property and which is now Wild Care. And
near the Rotary.
that marsh area by the Rotary. And you had areas in South Eastham that were underwater, that water was coming in, and you couldn't get from Eastham to Orleans because it was just so flooded in.
Wow.
There's a picture I have of a guy in a boat navigating around, I think it's on Governor Prince Road in Eastham, and
which is not far from Fort Hill.
it's right across from
Right-
Fort
right
Hill.
across
and that
from Fort
whole
Hill,
marsh
yeah.
system had washed out because of those high tides.
How long did it take for the waters to recede?
Oh, once it went to low tide, it
did,
receded,
yeah,
but they had a couple of instances where that happened, and you had people trying to drive through it too, which is, that's problematic with fresh water.
Right.
But salt water is not particularly kind either. There was a really interesting situation too, the day after the storm. The night before, someone had, a group of teenagers drove down into that parking lot, and they were in a Volkswagen Beetle.
This is the Coast Guard
Coast Guard
parking
beach.
lot? Okay.
And they drove onto the beach, and what they didn't realize, this was in the dark, they didn't realize waves were coming in behind them.
Okay.
So it ends up, the waves take the Volkswagen, actually lift it, and washed it into the marsh, and these youngsters are in there scared to death.
Sure.
You know, thinking that, oh my God, this is it. And while they're floating around, they look up and they see a couple of headlights up in the Coast Guard station parking lot. And that was their guiding light, so to speak. They were afraid that if they had not seen that, they might have perished right then and there. So the next day, they came down and the water had receded and the Volkswagen was sitting there. They pulled it out of the water and they turned the key and it actually started. So imagine, Volkswagen.
Right.
One of the interviews I have with Bob C., he says, geez, Volkswagen should have been there for their commercials.
Yeah.
Great. So it was, you have some kind of quirky stories like that, and that was a good ending to that. Fortunately, there were no fatalities out here.
Right.
In this area anyway. But overall, just what it did to the landscape and everything, it's memorable. That's how people remember it out here.
Right.
There were thousands of people that came down to Coast Guard Beach.
Wow. Just to see the change.
Just to see the waves coming in and the bathhouse being smashed. I have an interview with Robert Finch, the writer, who says, everybody was down there, and he says every time the waves hit that bathhouse, the crowds would just cheer.
Wow.
and he says, why is that? What are we cheering?
Yeah, what is that? Right, curious. Right?
It was because everybody was just awed by what was going on, by the force of nature out
Force
there.
of nature, yeah.
So
it is amazing. And so your talk will be on Saturday, February 3rd, 2 p.m. right
Yes.
here in the Harwich Community Center.
Yep.
We have admission of $5 per person. We try and keep it really reasonable. We're so excited to hear more stories. And you actually have some live video interviews, is that right? Or still images?
I have a lot of still images. I also
Audio?
I also interviewed several people 10 years ago this month for the 30th anniversary of the storm. I got together a bunch of different people who were there.
Wow.
Jack Clark, who was a ranger at the seashore, he's now with Mass Audubon. The late Noel Bile, the Eastham historian. Bob C., who was he's a radio newsman here on the Cape and in Boston. He was with a station in Orleans at the time. And Henry Lind, who's the natural resources officer in Eastham. Also Robert Finch. Some of the footage I done for another project, he talks about the blizzard, and that's all included in this as well.
Wow.
So there's a lot of interesting photographs as well.
It should be great. That should be a great talk.
It's going to be a great talk.
It's proven to be pretty popular.
Yeah,
when
that'd
I've
be
done
very
it elsewhere.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're excited. We look forward to it.
I do too.
Yeah, and thank you for giving us a preview here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Glad to. Thanks.
And now you're going to talk about something that's one of my favorites, the Owl Show.
Yes, we'll talk about another event.
That and the Wolf Show.
Yes.
I always love that. I filmed that twice. and
That's
that
right, you
was
were there
really-
filming
I
it,
really
that's
enjoyed
right.
that. It was great.
Yeah. It is amazing experiences seeing these animals up
See,
close.
Up close. It was
Yeah.
great.
So we have our 12th annual live owl programs on Saturday, March 3rd. 12th annual, 12 years in a row we've been hosting them. And
That's
you know what?
amazing. I
People
didn't
come
realize
back.
it was that long.
People come back year to year.
Yeah.
They just never tire of seeing these
No,
these amazing creatures up close. Right? Sometimes we hear owls at night at a distance. Rarely do we see them. But in this case, they're brought to us by Marcia and Mark Wilson, the owl educators.
they're good.
There they are,
They're
Mark and
good
Marcia.
presenters.
They are
Right.
good presenters. And they have state and federal permits which allow them to care for these owls. Each of these owls have a permanent disability. And so the Wilsons are allowed to bring these owls around for educational presentations. There's some photos from this event from years past, right there in the community center gym. This is a barred owl, B-A-R-R-E-D, making a comeback on the Cape. Here's a snowy owl. They'll also bring a snowy owl. Sometimes people see these snowy owls on some of our barrier beaches this time of year. We'll even have the largest owl species by weight in the world, which is the Eurasian eagle owl, shown there. Here's a couple other international owls called the spectacled owl. They're from South America, and Marcia will bring them too. And then we have some other local owl species, such as the screech owl. Look at that little feisty owl. The ear tufts there. Probably she'll be bringing screech owl. She'll be bringing another local owl species, saw-whet owl. There you see on the far hand of Mark, the screech owl species on the closer hand in this image. And they'll even give some hooting lessons. They'll ask folks from the audience to come up and try their hand at responding and vocalizing with these owls. They'll show another owl species called, as our more commonly known owl, a great horned owl. And so we're going to have 6, 7 different species of owl right here in the gymnasium. Folks get to see these owls up close and personal. We've kept the prices the same for the past 12 years. We really, again, try and keep it reasonable. Ages 12 and up, 12 to adult, is $10 per person. Ages 5 to 11, $5 per person. And it's really not recommended for under age 5. And people can register online at our website, harwichconservationtrust.org, or you can come on down and pay at the door. There'll be 3 programs, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. And we're also fortunate to not only have those programs paid for by virtue of folks paying those admission prices, but also through business sponsorships.
Okay.
Cape Cod Times, Cape Cod Chronicle, Cape Codder, the Register newspapers, Birdwatchers General Store, Cape Cod 5-Cent Savings Bank. They've been our sponsors from the beginning, all
You
of
have
them.
good support here.
Yeah,
on the Cape.
and so it's a
Right.
real collaborative effort to
you
bring
do.
this live owl program to everybody's doorstep right here. So again, Saturday, March 3rd, see our website for more details. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming. And Don, this was very interesting to me because I wasn't living on the Cape during that blizzard, and I had never heard these stories. I didn't realize what had happened.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So you're I want to come to hear your presentation.
Oh, I'm glad to
sure
hear
it'll
that.
be great, really
February 3rd, 2 p.m. right here.
It's coming
yeah,
up.
Yeah,
Won't be far away.
Yep.
Good.
yeah.
That's great.
It's
Well,
gonna be
so
fun.
nice to have you with us this morning, Don.
No, thanks for having me.
Mike, always so glad to have you with us.
Thank
too.
you, Ron.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
Thank you.
You know, if you haven't been to that owl show, it really is a great take.
It is. We really enjoyed it when we
Yeah,
went.
yeah, then it really is. And the discussion on the blizzard of '78 sounds really interesting.
Yes, it
really
does.
It looks like he has some great video and pictures, and for those of you that weren't here for that storm, that would be a great lecture to take in because it was a storm that we haven't seen the likes of since, really. I
Yeah.
mean,
It truly was a 100-year
yeah,
storm.
oh my goodness.
Not so bad here on the Cape, but we were living off Cape, as you mentioned.
yeah,
at the
and I'll
time,
never
and all
forget
the
that.
South
I
Shore was
mean,
really walloped.
I mean, we lived on a state route, 37, and you could not drive your car. Cars were banned. The only way you could get around was snowmobile, and people were buzzing up and down the street with snowmobiles. That's the only way you could get from one place to
And
another.
skis.
And skis.
Yes.
So people were skiing back and forth to the
Yep.
store, and
Yeah, and taking the kids in the wagons,
Yeah.
in the sleds, rather.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
the
really
sleds, yeah.
amazing. It really was. It was quite a storm, and I don't think we ever lost power during that storm either. No,
I don't remember that we did.
I don't think we did. No, we never lost power during that whole thing. It was quite amazing. You have got some announcements there.
I do. I have all kinds of announcements. All right, the first one I'm going to mention is the Friends of the Harwich Council on Aging. They are hosting a great Valentine's Day luncheon for seniors and their friends at the Cove Restaurant at Cape Cod Regional Technical High School. The date is Wednesday, February 14th. The time is 11:30. Transportation is available. The menu is starter is minestrone soup. The entree is a choice of chicken parm with penne pasta and vegetable or baked haddock with rice and vegetable, plus dessert and beverage. All this for $15.
Oh, boy.
And there are scholarships available, so you can contact the COA director at 508-430-7550 to let him know if you need a scholarship, and also to RSVP no later than February 6th to that same number, 508-430-7550, with your entree choice, and let them know then if you need transportation. And a reminder, no lunch will be served that day in the community center, so join the COA at the Cove.
Wow, that sounds good.
It does, yes.
Sounds very good. Yeah, great. Speaking of February and February vacation, Brooks Free Library is having a very active week. They're going to be doing a lot of fun
Wow,
things.
look at all those things.
On Saturday, February 17th, Motion Man will be there at 2:30, and it's mime, magic, and physical comedy. This is a great performer. He'll be there at 2:30 on February 17th. And on Wednesday, February 21st, and I think Ann spoke about this last week,
Yes, she
the
did.
boat challenge. And this sounds terrific. You know, you build a small boat, but it has to be able to float and hold 20 pennies. So that is a real challenge. So that's on February 21st at 2:30. And on the 23rd, Friday, sun catchers. Make a sun catcher to brighten up your windows. And on Saturday, February 24th, Family Fortnight at 5:30. Come to the library at 5:30 and feast upon pizza, then build a sheet fort in the library. Registration is required for that one, so please register by Friday, February 23rd by emailing Ann at anncarpenter@clamsnet.org, or you can call 508-430-7562. That's 508-430-7562, extension 2. So lots of fun at Brooks Free Library during vacation week.
Yes, and I believe that website is A Carpenter rather than Ann Carpenter.
I think it is. Let's
Yes,
see.
A.
Yes, it's acarpenter@clamsnet.org.
Very
Thank
good.
you. You have another one there.
Yes, speaking of February vacation, of course, the rec department is not going to be overshadowed, and they have a wonderful gym schedule set up for the whole week. starting on Monday, February 19th, going right through to Saturday, February 24th. And as you can see, there's all kinds of different activities and events going on. There's family open gym, and there's senior volleyball, and there's youth field hockey, and there's different things each day. So you can come here to the community center and get a copy of this at the rec department, or you can go online, and I believe it's online there as well. Just remember that all children 12 and under must be accompanied by and supervised by an adult at all times in the gym and the game room. Also on the back, there are 3 family events, and this is all during February vacation now. The special activities and family events are Tuesday, February 20th from 5 to 6:30. There'll be a family movie event for all ages, and the name of the movie is The Pirate Fairy. Wednesday, February 21st from 5 to 7, there'll be all kinds of family gym games, cornhole, polo, ping pong, basketball, on, but all children must be accompanied by a parent or a guardian for that. And on Thursday, February 22nd, from 9:30 in the morning to 5 p.m. that afternoon, there's going to be a Patriot Place field trip for grades 5 and 6 only. And it's a wonderful take-in. Jack and I have been there, and Jamie too mentioned that she goes as well. An interactive hall of memorabilia and exciting hands-on exhibits of the New England Patriots. Go Pats!
Oh, boy.
It's $35 per student, and that includes transportation, lunch, and admission. Be sure to bring a little extra money for souvenir shopping, too. Field trip for the grades 5 through 6 will have maximum participants at the number 10. So only 10 can go on this. Pre-registration and payment is required. The recreation van leaves the Harwich Community Center at 9:30 in the morning and returns at 5 p.m. for parent pickup on that day. So
Wow. That's,
wonderful things going on.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very good. They say that 1 out of 3 people have backaches. Their backs
Yes, I
hurt.
can attest to that.
And they also say that that's caused by a mattress that really isn't doing its job. Well,
Maybe we should attend this.
Here's a great opportunity. This is the 2nd annual Monomoy Regional School District Mattress Fundraiser. And this is going to be held, it's a little bit ahead of, mark your calendar. This is Sunday, April 8th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. right at the Monomoy High School gym. There is an opportunity to purchase a mattress at up to 50% off retail. And all of the name brands that you're familiar with, you know, Beauty Rest, and they have all kinds of mattresses there. They're going to have twins, fulls, queens, kings, and California kings.
Wow,
so
those
this
are
is
hard to come by.
Yeah, and adjustable beds, pillows, they're going to have everything there. So here is an opportunity to get a great buy on a new mattress and at the same time supporting the Monomoy Regional School District fundraiser. So great, and at every purchase benefits all Monomoy sports.
Give
so,
them an idea of the prices.
yeah,
Really
they're
good.
talking about twins from $249, fulls from $289, queens from $299, kings and California kings from $499. Wow. Those sound like great buys.
Yes, they do.
So again, that's Sunday, April 8th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Right at Monomoy High School. The event link is Custom Fundraising Solution Boston Events. So I don't know if that's even a website, but that's who's sponsoring it anyway. And the benefit, all sports booster club, all of the Monomoy Regional School District All Sports Booster Club. So,
Wow.
yeah, great opportunity there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And speaking of great opportunities, Chase Free Library in West Harwich has some new books for you to look at. If you're looking for a good book to read for the snow days that may lie ahead, or if you're going on vacation, you want to take a library book with you, visit Chase Library to find bestsellers as well as a large selection of older fiction. Their new books this week are Prairie Fires by Caroline Fraser, Carnegie's Maid by Marie Benedict, Autumn by Allie Smith, and Bobby Kennedy, A Raging Spirit by Chris Matthews. Chase Library holds an ongoing book sale featuring a great selection of hardcover and paperback books. The sale is held during library open hours. As I said, stock up on some good reads to have on hand for a snowy day. The Chase Library is tucked behind the Vieira Restaurant on Route 28 in West Harwich. The address is 7 Route 28. Library hours are Tuesdays from 10 to 4 and Saturdays from 10 to 2.
Great, they do a great job there.
Yes,
They really
yes,
do.
and there's parking behind Viera as well.
Yes, there is. Very good. Thank you, Eileen.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to get an update of what's going on here at the community center. Dinah sat down with Carolyn, so let's take a look and see what's happening.
Hello, I'm here with Carolyn Carey of the Harwich Community Center, again with our update of the month. And we have some wonderful things here on the table, Carolyn. It looks like pieces of artwork. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, as you know, the community center turns 18 in February.
Ah,
So,
18th anniversary.
Our 18th anniversary. It's hard to believe, but exciting. So for that, everybody deserves a little party. So we're going to have a few different events here at the community center for the town. And what you were speaking of is something that we're trying for the first time.
Yes.
We're going to look for fairy doors in town. So we've created some fairy doors. There are 11 of them, which will be scattered around town. And this is Finley. She lives here at the community center.
So she will stay here?
So she'll have a house here.
Oh, her own house.
She has a lovely home. So Finley has 11 friends who came to visit her, but you're going to have to match the fairies with where the houses are located around town. So you pick up a little map here on February 8th, and we give you from the 8th until the 20th. So you can do all in one day, you can do one a day, whatever you feel like doing, whatever works for you and your parents, or if the parents are doing it, whatever works for you. And then we're going to come here on the 20th, and you'll bring in your map that tells us which fairy lives at which house. And we'll have a little party with some fairy cupcakes and some exciting things. And then we'll watch a movie, a free movie for everybody. So that's our little fairy door event that's happening. And this is the flyer for that. You'll see this around town, and we'll have it on our website, but look for the fairy door scavenger hunt flyer. So that's coming up. You can pick up all the information on the 8th, right
Okay.
around the corner.
And the fairies who match the homes are here at the community center?
Yes, you'll get on your map, you'll get a picture of the houses, and you'll get a picture of fairies, and then you'll get a map that just has some X's, so you'll have to find that this house is at the community center, this door. It isn't, that's not the one. Little tip for you. And then you'll bring them back once you've matched it up on the 20th, so it should
Well,
be fun for everyone.
That sounds very fun, and really they are things of beauty.
Well,
And I understand that you have made most
thank
of them
you.
yourself.
Thanks,
Is that right?
I did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that
a great idea and
you can
beautifully,
have some-
beautifully executed.
some fun with it. So we're looking forward to finding all the fairy doors in town.
Yes, yeah.
We'll see if it takes off and we can
The
do
hunt
it
is
again.
on,
The
almost.
hunt almost on, exactly. Good point. So then the next thing we're doing, I'm going to just hold the flyer up, is the Beantown Medium. You've heard of the Long Island Medium, maybe she's on TV. Well, this is someone from Boston, the Beantown Medium, and we've had her here before, and she sold out in 2 days. So she is a medium. She does a great job. We will have that on February 15th at 6 p.m. in the multi-purpose room, and tickets are $10. And you do need a ticket. If we have any left on the day of the event, they will be on sale at the door for $15. But as I said, the last time she was here, she sold out in 2 days.
And the way to get
So
tickets is?
You can come into the community center, or you can call the community center.
Okay, so there's not an online option for
There
this
is
one?
not an online
Okay,
option for
okay.
this one.
All right, good to know.
Yes, very
That
good to
sounds
know. We'll
great.
work on that.
And does she call people up from the audience?
She does. She actually walks around the audience, so she gets a vibe while she's walking around. She did quite a few people the last time she was here, which was about, I think about 4 years ago. So it's been a while. So, and I know the people that came really enjoyed it last time. So we thought we would bring it back. Just a fun time, a nice evening out. So there's approximately 100 tickets, just so people know, but they will go fast. So if you're interested, please give us a call, stop in, sign up, Beantown Medium. Kind of excited.
Yeah, well, that does sound like fun.
Well,
Good
then there's
midwinter
exactly
activity.
a little
right?
break.
Yep.
And then, of course,
Yes.
there's another week, so we have to do something else. So we're going to do our indoor farmers market.
Oh, great.
So that'll be in the multi-purpose room, and we're signing up vendors right now. We already have several of them, but it will be a free market for both the vendors and the people who are interested in coming in. We're looking for anyone who might want to sign up to give us a call. But
Give us a little taste of spring to come.
exactly,
Yeah.
and people are selling not only produce and things, but they have dry goods, and so I think it will be pretty interesting. So that is on Thursday, February 22nd, my goodness,
Okay.
from 3 to 6 p.m. in the multipurpose room.
Great, and it's free for everyone.
Free,
Free
of
for
course.
all.
We're
It'll
trying
be a free-for-all.
a free-for-all.
Hopefully not, but
That's right.
it'll be fun nonetheless, and really exciting to see who all is around.
So that's how we're going to celebrate our birthday or
Excellent.
anniversary, whichever
Yeah,
you prefer.
Yeah.
And the other thing, if I can just steal for 1 minute, is that when you come into the building, everyone gets a present on their birthday or anniversary, don't they?
Yes.
So here, one of our presents is that at each door, there is now monitors that will tell you what is happening in the different rooms in the community center. Before, there was just one sign handwritten at the front that you'd have to come to and see where your room is. We are now trying to make sure that we are more user-friendly and that people can come in and see. We have posters or flyers that run on the opposite side of the schedule, and we've gotten great feedback
So
about
it's
that.
electronic monitors. It's
3 of
like
them.
TVs.
Exactly,
Okay.
that are reading just what that one day's events are.
I see.
So, and it absolutely could not have been possible without Jamie from Channel 18. She's amazing. So we are really trying to make it easier for everyone, and so appreciate everything she did to help us.
Yes.
It
Oh,
was
that Jamie.
great.
She's
Yes.
so full of wonderful, wonderful things to do.
She
So, yeah.
is. And the other thing is we are having some signs made,
Signs.
directional signs, so that if you come in, you'll know which rooms.
In the building.
Yes.
Oh,
so-
excellent.
So there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
We recently sent out a survey to everyone in the weight room, asking them for feedback on how their experience is, welcoming them if they're a first-time joiner. You know, in January we get a lot of new people. So we're just trying to see what we can do better in there.
Yeah, I just got that letter. It was
Oh,
very nice.
Thanks.
liked
See, I
it.
didn't
It
make
was
it up. I
very
really
welcoming.
sent that out. Oh,
Yeah, it was
good.
very welcoming. And,
Well, we
and
hope that you'll give us some feedback because we
Yes.
do want to improve things. It's important that at 18 you don't just sit back. You just got to dive in and say, what can we do better now?
your life is just beginning.
It is, and that's how we feel about the building. It's just beginning.
Yes.
So there's a lot of changes. The next thing that will be coming up is starting in March, we start sending out the room reservations, and there'll be a survey in that as well, asking the public and the people that use the building how we're doing. And then we're going to make one general survey asking everyone who uses the building for feedback on what we can do better. So we are seeking public input
Yes.
and really, really hope that you will take a minute and just give us a call if you don't want to fill it out, or fill it out, drop it off. But really, we want to make some improvements that help you. So
So when does the room reservation period begin?
it's on the fiscal year, but which would
Which
start
is
July 1.
July 1st, okay.
So we send them out because it's
Okay.
a kind of a process. People fill out the applications, then we put them in the computer. We also use a book, and we get, as you can imagine, hundreds of reservations.
Many.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm sure.
so there's well over 100 different organizations using the building, and they all use them for multiple times. So, and then of course we utilize the Recreation Department and the Council on Aging, getting their events into the building first. So there's a lot that goes into it, but that's why it's thriving, because we have so many people who want to use the building.
It
So
is
I'll-
thriving. It's wonderfully active.
we can give you more information on the March letters that are going out on our next visit
our
here.
next update.
Exactly. I don't want to give it all away here.
Well, certainly not, and you
So-
couldn't because there's so much to talk about. Every month there's so much to talk about. So thank you so much, Carolyn, for coming in, and happy birthday.
Oh, it is
Happy
my
birthday
birthday
to all.
too. I'm just saying.
Today?
No, in February. I celebrate with the community center. That's how I got the job. I'm
Of course.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Of course.
But before we go, can I just say one thing? Be careful out there. Sometimes it is slippery. The custodial staff at the community center does a fabulous job trying to keep the walkways open.
they
And
do.
so I wanted to just take a minute to thank them and say, be careful.
Thank you, Carolyn. See you next month.
I can't believe the ingenious things that Carolyn and her crew have planned.
She made them all by hand.
You know, it's amazing. It
Unbelievable.
really is. You know, she just does so
Ingenious.
much. Yeah, really. I mean, that sounds like so much fun, and all the other
know.
activities she has planned. Just amazing. We are so lucky, and
We say it over and over,
we
but
say it
it's like
over
a
and over
broken
again.
record,
This
but we
community
are.
center is a great place to be, and a great place to come. And if you don't take advantage of it, it's your own fault.
There you go.
That's for sure. That's great. Folks, that is our show for this week. We really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much on behalf of all of us here at Channel 18. Thanks for watching.
And please take advantage of everything going on around this very busy town of ours.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye
Bye.
for now.